All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard and welcome to the relaunch of America Talks Live, an interactive news show on Newsmax TV where you, the viewer, can engage with me and our guests. I want to welcome you all aboard. All right, I've been away on vacation for about 12 days, so let me start with a few things before we get to the great Andy McCarthy. Barack Obama did what he does best recently. He bashed America on foreign soil. Started talking about Colin Kaepernick, the backup quarterback of the 49ers, who won't stand for the national anthem, who wears socks that show cops as pigs. Obama kind of defended him. Not kind of, but did.
In terms of Mr. Kaepernick, you know, I got to confess that I haven't been thinking about football while I've been over here. And I haven't been following this closely, but my understanding, at least, is that he's exercising his constitutional right to make a statement. I think there's a long history of sports figures doing so. I think there are a lot of ways you can do it.
Yep. And by the way, he's in China. And so he hasn't bashed America yet, you say? Keep watching.
When it comes to the flag and the national anthem and the meaning that holds for our men and women in uniform and those who fought for us, that is a tough thing for them to get past, to then hear what his deeper concerns are.
And what about Kaepernick's deeper concerns that America is racist and bigoted?
But I don't doubt his sincerity based on what I've heard. I think he cares about some real, legitimate issues that have to be talked about.
There you go. Real, legitimate issues. Racism, blacks are treated poorly, bigoted cops, killer cops. That's what he says in China. He's still a disgrace. He was a disgrace when I left. He's a disgrace now. And then there's Hillary. Hillary, yeah, go ahead. Show it again. Go ahead.
Got some water? Yep. Thank you. Thanks. Excuse me. I'll be right back.
Okay, that ended a little press greeting on Hillary's new plane where she was going to talk to the press. And she was just asked about a conspiracy theory about her health. And then she had to stop because her health kicked in. And then she made a campaign stop in Cleveland. Watch.
And I want to thank Congresswoman Marcia Fudge for hosting us. I've been talking so... Every time I think about Trump, I get allergic.
Look, it speaks for itself. And it continued for 4.5 minutes.
Well, you just heard the next vice president, didn't you?
I mean, enough is enough, right? I could keep going on and on and on. Something is not right with this woman's health. Now, there was an FBI document dump. The interview she gave to the FBI, they released the notes on Friday, this past Friday, Labor Day weekend, and it was riveting. What we found out was riveting. She can't remember things because she had a concussion in 2012, so she can't remember if she was briefed in 2008. She said that. She thought C meant paragraph C, not classified. Crazy stuff. She broke, she had 13 phones, 13! And they broke them when they were finished with them. She lost a lot of them. So that Donald Trump, at his campaign stop yesterday, said this.
People who have nothing to hide don't smash phones with hammers. They don't. People who have nothing to hide don't bleach. Nobody's ever heard of it. Don't bleach their emails or destroy evidence to keep it from being publicly archived as required under federal law. And she got rid of these emails after Congress, not before, after Congress requested them. Think of that. Can you imagine if I or somebody else did that?
And one more. Watch.
Hillary Clinton failed to turn over thousands of documents, then tried to shield her criminal conduct by having her chief of staff declare herself to be Hillary Clinton's private attorney. Hillary and her top aides told the FBI and others related in the lawsuits that they couldn't recall or remember, can't remember anything.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining us now to talk about all this, the great Andy McCarthy, contributing editor for National Review, senior fellow at the National Review Institute, former federal prosecutor, and author of Faithless Execution, Building the Political Case for Obama's Impeachment. Andy, welcome to the new kickoff of America's Talking, sir. Thanks for being my first guest.
My pleasure, Steve. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. All right, so you have written extensively about this FBI interview, and Trump brought up Cheryl Mills, without naming her, as being acting as her attorney. Before we get to that, the things that she told the FBI, that she admitted to the FBI, Andy, I mean, most prominently, is that she couldn't remember if being briefed in 2008 about the use of emails and the use of how to classify documents. She couldn't remember because she had a concussion in 2012. My God, she's admitting that, yes, there's very reasonable concern about her health.
Well, that's at the very least true, Steve. I think there's a lot more concern about her honesty, frankly, than her health, because she obviously signed documentation acknowledging that she had been briefed. And, you know, if you take that one thing in isolation, maybe anybody can have, you know, a momentary brain fog in the course of an interrogation. But if you put it in combination with the other things she said, it just becomes very clear that the story she gave the FBI was a preposterous one.
Right. See, I tweeted out after that and posted on my Facebook page that either Hillary Clinton is seriously ill or she was toying with the FBI during her interview for pure sport, making a mockery. What do you think happened?
Well, you know, number one, I'd say I don't think it's mutually exclusive that she may have health problems and she may be incredibly dishonest. I think both those things may well be true. But I don't know that it doesn't seem to me so much that she was toying, Steve, although that may have been the effect of it, as that this was a very elaborate, well thought out way to avoid providing Congress, and not just Congress, but also other lawful investigations that were going on. Freedom of Information Act litigations. There's a criminal indictment involving one of the jihadists that was involved in the Benghazi attack. Her documents were relevant to all of these official investigations. I think they did a very elaborate, well planned out scheme to shield her documents from the lawful access of these different investigations. But the most outrageous one is clearly the one involving Congress and the Benghazi committee, because I think what they did with respect to that is mind-boggling, frankly.
All right, and I want to get to this before I get to Cheryl Mills. You have a piece out about impeaching Hillary Clinton, and you say, yes, I think you did, I'm pretty sure you did, yeah, Hillary can be impeached by the Congress. Now explain how. Explain.
Yeah, impeachment commonly to people suggests that it's just removal from office. But if you look carefully at the Constitution, what it says is that that impeachment is about not only removal from office, but disqualification from any future office of high trust under the United States. And the framers' model for the impeachment clause was the impeachment trial in Parliament of Hastings, of Warren Hastings, the former Governor General of Britain, that was going on at the same time that the Constitution was written. That's interesting because Hastings was out of office at the time he was impeached.
So if Congress wanted to do this, they could take it up.
Yeah, but you know, look, I'm not a pie in the sky person. I'm trying to be hard-headedly practical here, right? I know that the Democrats in the Senate are never, ever going to vote to remove or to disqualify Hillary Clinton.
Right.
My point is that Congress and the House has it within their own power, for all the complaining about the FBI and the Justice Department,
To
which
just
I think is
impeach.
justified.
They could impeach.
Yeah. Well, and at the very least, Steve, they can have hearings from now until November, which would be about her record and her high crimes and misdemeanors, which would rivet the country's attention in a very unique and powerful way to what her record is. And that's something they could do by themselves. They don't need the FBI for that.
If the leadership wanted Donald Trump to win, they might just do that. But I don't see that happening at all.
We want the country to win, right? And one way the country wins is you expose somebody who's extremely corrupt.
All right, let's talk about your piece on Cheryl Mills. How did Cheryl Mills sit in on Hillary Clinton's FBI interview?
You know, Steve, I think that the whole nub we're going to see of all the crazy shenanigans and the, taking hammers to communications devices and bleach bit to server systems and all that stuff, what we're going to find rooted in the middle of all this is a theory that the Justice Department decided to indulge here, that basically if you bring your lawyer or someone you claim to be your lawyer into the middle of all of your planning and all of your instructions, no matter how corrupt and obstructive they may be, that you can shield those communications from the FBI. And that's what Mrs. Clinton did. She basically said that Cheryl Mills, among the legion of other lawyers she had, was her lawyer for purposes of putting together and producing to the State Department the emails that she shouldn't have had on a private server in the first place. It was Mills and the legal team that made the decisions, according to Clinton, of what got purged. And in this case, purging was scorch the earth, right? They destroyed things, they didn't just delete them. And what got produced to the State Department. And when the FBI tried to investigate this, when they tried to ask, what were the arrangements? What were the instructions? How did you decide which ones to get rid of and which ones to turn over to the State Department? The answers were, we can't go into that attorney-client privilege. And the Justice Department decided to put up with that. It would be like if John Gotti decided, instead of sitting down with his capos, to sit down with his lawyers.
Unbelievable.
And have them give the instructions.
Folks, read this piece at National Review Online, the corner column by the great Andy McCarthy. Andy, thank you so much.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks for having me.
Folks, up next, our political panel, Jim Hoft, Julio Rivera. Your calls at 877 Newsmax. Don't go away.